Hi guys, so today I'm going to talk about waterfall process model. What is waterfall process model? The waterfall model is a linear process model that divides development processes into successive project phases. In contrast to iterative models, each phase is run through only once. The results of each preceding phase are used as assumptions in the subsequent phase. The waterfall model is used especially in software development. The waterfall model provides a clear organizational structure for development projects, with individual project phases clearly separated from one another. This is because each step is followed by a milestone, so the development process is straightforward. The model focuses on the documentations of the process steps, and the knowledge gains is documented in requirement or in document. Strictly speaking, there is no change planned for the waterfall model during the course of the project. However, a software project in which all details of development are already defined at the start of the project can only be completed successfully if significant amount of time and money invested in analysis and conceptions at the start. Furthermore, a large software project can sometimes last several years and are not regularly updated to reflect current development, resulting in results that are out of date at the time of implementation. Okay, next I will explain you about 5 stages of the waterfall model, which is analysis, design, implementations, testing, and maintenance. And each stage has a significant impact on whether the project is successful or not. The first one is analysis. The system specifications are reviewed in order to develop product models and business logic that will be used to guide your model's productions. This is also the point at which financial and technical resources are evaluated for viability. Second one is design. Once you have figured out what the project requirements are, the following stage is to figure out how to create solutions that fulfill them. For example, if you need to handle 1 million customers per day, you might investigate several solutions throughout the design phase. The third one is implementations. During this step, you choose one of your candidate design and implement it using technology. This might entail gathering data and determining if the design can satisfy the needs of your customer. The next one is verifications. During this step, you test whether the implementation you produce in phase 4 validates your requirements. And lastly, you need to maintain your model. This could be releasing patch updates and new versions. So, I will pass this to Akira, which explain you more about waterfall process model.
Okay, I want to continue my part. The waterfall model is one of the alternatives available to the business. However, it has benefits and drawbacks, much like everything else in the world. So here's some advantage you can get from doing a waterfall model. The first one is structuring the work. The waterfall theory emphasizes a specific and well-defined set of phases, producing a distinct work structure. Before proceeding to the following phase, teams must finish the previous one on its entirety. As a result, any barriers to completion are evident right away. Second, making follow-up easier. Using this technique, you can easily and intuitively see how the project is progressing. This also implies that there is no requirement for project management level certification or specialized training. Next is defining goals. One of the properties of the waterfall model is the explicit definition of objective to be met from the outset. Teams profit from this clarity because it makes it possible for them to work carefully and persistently with the goal in mind. Now, we go to the disadvantage we'll get from waterfall model. It pushes back testing until after the project is finished. Any negative results might necessitate a substantial adjustment because the project has probably taken a long time to finish at this point. Ignoring the empirical data from the purpose value proposition until you are ready to enter the market may result in significant user issues that you have to address. Other than that, the work you have already done may be rendered invalid. You are unable to restart the procedure with the new information without going back to the beginning of the process. To avoid invalidating the earlier effort, a project that is uncertain or involves frequent change needs opportunities for revision or reflection at each stage. The last one is a working models are not accessible until a project has reached its final phases. Considering that a building has only been constructed with two walls, it can be challenging to assess its structural integrity. Software developers choose to steer clear of this strategy for this reason. A functional prototype may be helpful when testing is required along the way.
There are several types of software models, and that includes incremental development model. It is a method of software development where the product is designed, implemented, and tested incrementally until the product is finished. It also involves both development and maintenance. The product is defined as finished when it satisfies all of its requirements. This model combines the elements of waterfall mode with the iterative philosophy of prototyping. There are several characteristics of incremental model, which is system is broken down into many development projects. Other than that, partial systems are built to produce the final system. Third, it is the first tackled highest priority requirements. Lastly, the requirement of a portion is frozen once the incremented portion is developed. There are also several advantages and disadvantages of using incremental model. The advantages is that it generates working software quickly and early during the software lifecycle. This model is much more flexible and less costly to change scopes and requirements. It is as well easier to test and debug during a small iteration. In this model, customers can respond to each build. It also has lower initial delivery costs, and lastly, it is a lot easier to manage risk because the risky pieces are identified and handled during its iteration. As for their disadvantages, it needs a good planning and design. It as well needs clear and complete definition of the whole system before it can be broken down and built incrementally. Lastly, total cost is higher than waterfall.
I'm going to present about reuse-oriented software engineering model. The reuse-oriented software engineering model is where they reuse programming or software in previous projects or existing software components. Reuse-oriented is based on systematic reuse where systems are integrated from existing components. This development can reduce the overall cost of software development, and it can also save time because each phase of the process builds on the previous phase which has already existed. Now let me explain step by step the general process for the reuse-oriented software engineering model. First, we start with requirement specification. In requirement specification, all possible requirements of the system to be developed are captured in the piece. Next, component analysis. According to the given requirement, component is selected to implement the requirement specification. That is not possible that selected component provide the complete functionality. Next, requirement modification. Information about component that is selected during component analysis is used to analyze requirement specification. Requirements are modified according to available component. Requirement modification is critical analytic activity is reused to find relative solution. Next is system design with reuse. During this stage, the design of the system is built. Designer must consider component and organize the framework. If reuse component is not available, then new software is developed. Lastly, development and integration. In this stage, components are integrated to develop new software. Integration in this model is part of development rather than separate activity.